Everybody. Day one, lesson one. We're going to talk real quick about, we're going to cover a lot of years really quick here. Got to start off, and I have a mask on my face, so we're going to take that off because COVID can't go through the computer. Okay, let's start over here. Um, Number one, we have to start off controversial right off the bat. It's history class, and of course, things got to get crazy on day one. So I know that there are a lot of questions to this. This is just the leading theory of how people populated North America. According to the textbook, this is where I like to start. Then we're going to talk about Columbus, and then we're going to be done for the day. Columbus is actually crazy, so stay tuned for that. It's really misunderstood. All right, I'm going to get to the point. So the first question in history class is, how did people get to North America? Of course, U.S. history class. And the answer is pretty simple. 30,000 to 16,500 years ago, this tiny area between Alaska and Serbia, you might remember, you don't remember because you're 14, but in the election of 2008, they made a joke that Sarah Palin, who was from Alaska, could see Russia from her house. It's that close. Alaska and Russia are very close. And the theory is that there was ice here, and humans migrated down from Siberia into North America. And that is the leading theory as to how humans populated North America. Now, I know there's a lot of different things going on out there. We're just going to keep things simple. So, question one, how did humans populate North America? They traveled through a land bridge right here. Moving on. Explorers. So, those were the native populations. How did Europeans find the New World? And it's actually way more interesting than you think. We're going to start off, and it's kind of boring, actually. Around 1000 AC, or whatever they call it now, after Christ, the Vikings find North America. They're here in Scandinavia. They take their boats. They land up here in the Labrador Peninsula in Canada. They walk around for a little bit and they go home. It's really not that big of a deal because it didn't change anything. The reason we remember Columbus and not the Vikings is because the Vikings didn't change anything. They found this piece of land and they didn't do anything with it. Now, it doesn't mean anything besides the fact that it didn't change the world. Columbus, on the other hand, changes the world. And I know he's kind of a controversial character now, and his statues are getting torn down and all that fun stuff. But it's kind of mind-blowing if you actually think about it from the perspective of somebody in the late 1400s. And I'll get to that in a second. So, what happens is actually way more complicated than what your third or fourth grade teacher told you. Number one, Columbus just didn't say, the world's flat, I'm going that way. I'm looking for a closer route. I'm looking for a quick way to get to Asia. That's not what happened at all. If you check out a map, this map right here, this little port right here, is called Constantinople at the time. If you actually studied world history, which they don't teach you in 6th grade, you would know that that right there was at the time the Roman Empire's capital. And they moved the Roman Empire's capital from Rome to Constantinople for one reason, the port. Ports are incredibly important to human history. All these spice traders right here in France, in Spain, and mainly in Portugal too, they could come through the Strait of Gibraltar. They bring their boats this way. They go under Italy. They go under Greece. They go through all these islands, and boom, right there, you are in Asia. And then they would actually take by land all of their supplies, and they would go that way, whatever that way is. It's east. Yeah, it's east. Cut that one out because now your parents think I'm... Never mind. All right. So when it comes to Columbus, again, I know that he's a controversial cat now. Like, I get it. All right. He was not a great human being, especially by our standards. But what the guy did is mind-blowing if you think about it from the perspective of somebody who's in the 1400s, the late 1400s. Put yourself in his shoes, and everything changes. To somebody in 1492, this is the map of the world. They have no concept that this part of the world exists. Zero. So if you're Columbus and Columbus knows the world is round, he knows that, hey, if I sail west, I'm eventually going to run into China, right? It makes complete sense. Now, Queen Isabella of Spain was kind of like on Shark Tank, right? Like you've all watched Shark Tank, and somebody goes in and says, I have a really good idea. Here's my business. Will you fund it? Well, Queen Isabella of Spain was like, Columbus said, hey, I'm going to try and go that way, and I'm going to try and run over here into Asia. Queen Isabella says, I'm a millionaire. Okay, well, like I don't care what happens. You can fall off the face of the earth anyway, if you want. And what ends up happening is that, and I know I should have picked a better map, but as Columbus is sailing, he runs into Hispaniola, which is the Dominican Republic, Haiti, those islands down in here. So, again, a lot of people say that Columbus didn't actually discover America. Yeah, he did, because Hispaniola is America. It's not the United States of America, but it is America. The better question is, why is Columbus important? The biggest question is, why is Columbus important? He's important because he doubles the size of the world. All of this right here was unknown. Remember, 1492, human map looked like this. All of a sudden, Columbus just decides to sail west and see what happens, and he runs into a whole nother hemisphere. If this doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what does, because this is incredibly important. All of a sudden, the world doubles in size, and it doubles in size overnight. And to me, I couldn't imagine being somebody from 1492, and then they realize, hey, guess what? There's a whole other hemisphere over here, and now we can go exploit it for resources. We'll talk about that later. All right, this is the boring stuff. I'm actually probably going to stop here. I think that this is, believe it or not, one of the most important things for you to understand. You need to understand, if you want to understand Columbus and you want to understand his importance, importance and positivity are two different things. Columbus is important. Whether he was a good person or not, to us, is just not really a question that we need to answer. You can make that decision on your own. He's important because he finds America and he doubles the size. He finds the Western Hemisphere and he doubles the size of the world. He also opens up trade routes, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. But if you can wrap your mind around the fact that the world looked like this, and then literally the next day it looks like this, you're well on your way to understanding Christopher Columbus. All right, that's it. Short video. See you guys.